Ethan Tingler, front tire changer for the 3-car Austin Dillon. You're listening to Back of the Pack podcast on Fantasy Focus. Hell yeah.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode number 25 of the Back of the Pack podcast here on Fantasy Focus, brought to you by the Original Hooters in partnership with Monkey Knife Fight. Ryan Levy here with my boys, Alex Freeman and Bucky. We are post-Poconos, back-to-back racing. Had a lot of fun there. Fortunately, I had Mr. Harvick in the racing pool that we do every week. So first place on Saturday, second place on Sunday. So I was in the green, and we absolutely crushed it on Monkey Knife Fight. We are back, boys. How you fellas doing this week?
Great. All we need is a doubleheader to get us going back in the groove of things. And we're at Indy this weekend with a lot of action. So I'm excited to dive in with you guys and talk some racing.
I really think they found the sweet spot at Pocono with the length of that race, both races. That highly entertaining, compact, and I thought it delivered on every level that we could ask for. And, you know, I'm not going to say I called it, but I kind of called it with Harvick. It's the Busch Light. And this weekend at the Big Lube Hand Sanitizer 400, we've got a hell of a rundown here in terms of the nice little paint job that my guy Kevin Harvick has. By the way, I ordered a Harvick hat. I'm still a Logano guy, but the Busch Light has just sucked me in. Even though I'm a Bud Light Seltzer guy, they're in the Anheuser-Busch family. So I think I'm not cheating, but I'm kind of like dating his sister. You know what I mean?
You're just a fan of cars there, Bucky.
You got the strawberry there, Levy, which is subpar flavor. But I'm not going to complain, Anheuser. I'm not going to complain. I'll drink them all the same.
Yeah, I just prefer the strawberry flavor over the lime flavor. So, you know, I make my wife drink the limes, I drink the strawberries, and then we kind of fight over the black raspberry and the mango because the mango is goddamn delicious.
But it's the black cherry.
The black cherry tastes like Smirnoff.
That's not true whatsoever, Freeman.
Oof.
When's the last time you saw it? You seen a tasteologist?
It's been a while.
Yeah, go get that tongue check, boy.
Yeah, I need to find one in network. It's been a while.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Yeah, in network is tough, I will admit.
Bucky, you stay buying the latest and hottest driver swag out there on a week-to-week basis, and I'll just keep wearing this here Denny Hamlin shirt.
Listen, that's the hottest swag.
I mean, you might have called it, but we also called Denny Hamlin out there winning, so he went on Sunday. They just flip-flopped. It was great to see these
exactly
guys
the same flip-flop. They chased each other. I mean, it was a great race, and you even said it, Bucky. Like the length of the races too is just spot on. It's a little bit longer than Xfinity, a little bit shorter than a traditional race. Like it was a right spot. And like you said, it was just extremely entertaining, and there wasn't a lot of lulls, which was great for a NASCAR race for a change.
Well, what was great about it was at times it was like 5 wide on this Pocono track, and at those times you didn't know what was going to happen. You had some good wrecks. Not as many as I would have liked, to be quite honest with you.
I'm surprised we didn't see more. There was a lot of flat tires that created, you know, collisions with the wall at odd times, and we got lucky. Well, the drivers got lucky to miss some of those cars bouncing back on the track. So we were really close to having a lot of big crashes on a number of different occasions.
The tricky triangle just really gets my juices flowing, if you know what I mean.
Well, what did you think of that second turn, Levy, having watched it in person for the first time?
It was really interesting to see, especially after you had described it so accurately after a virtual experience there. I think for me, yes, many virtual experiences there. Old shout out
6 seasons of Cliff Hamsteak.
But for me, I think what was most interesting, and this is what I like about NASCAR, besides the data, I'm a big data guy. I like the data science behind things and the slight changes that NASCAR makes on a week-to-week basis. But for me, what was really interesting to see was the strategy on day 2. There was a delay. There was a wet track. We're talking about back-to-back races. And to see how Denny, like a true vet, the true vet he is, how he stayed out a little longer and he waited to pit essentially until he had, I think it was like a 26-second lead or whatever it was on Harvick because Harvick pitted before him. To me, to see that part of it was just really interesting because I thought for sure Harvick was going to come back, scoop and score and pass in there, in the final 5 to 10 laps because he pitted earlier. But Denny had the exact science down, and that was awesome to me to see that strategy piece of it. I really enjoyed that.
What I enjoyed most there was the broadcast squad's ability to just say, all right, this is happening. Harvick is he could have a chance here. And they went directly into Harvick's dash cam. And as a viewer, you had hope. You had every hope from that angle. Like, oh yeah, he's gaining little by little. But you're absolutely right. Hamlin timed it out perfectly. He did all the right things. He hit the right marks with the pits. And I got to give it to the broadcasting. The way that they are, and Harvick is just the darling of televised NASCAR because they are going to his car all the damn time and at the right times. Where if things are getting juicy behind him, it's like, oh, we're in the 4 car. If things are speeding up and he's behind the leader, we're in the 4 car. It's just great to watch. That's got to be the most fun that those producers have, those guys calling the shots, because I truly, even though if you went to that above angle, the aerial angle, it wasn't all that interesting. Hamlin had that thing wrapped up.
Right.
But it just got to the point where through that dash cam, you felt this glimmer of hope in Harvick's car, just like probably he did at that time, but he knew it was baked. It was already, you got a nice strudel coming out of the oven.
Right.
I haven't had strudel in a long time, man. I could use some, but I really enjoyed that race. It was both races, to be honest. And I hate the delays, though. Can we get a delay-free race in Indy? I shouldn't have said it.
Freedom, before you jump in here, one, we need dome racing. Dome racing is the thing of the future. Except for the emissions there, probably wouldn't be too safe. If we continue with no fans, I think it's okay. But two, it was a goddamn thing of beauty to see the Hamlin team play that out like that. And agreed, Bucky, the way the announcers handled it was absolutely perfect. Like, I felt like I had a chance to win there with Harvick as my number 1 driver. But Freeman, I can almost see a tear coming out of your eye as a proud father of the Back of the Pack podcast to see how far myself and Bucky have come to notice the strategy and the deeper side of things in NASCAR. I'm getting into it, man. I'm loving it.
My face hurts from smiling so much over here to listen to you guys go at it. Like, it's awesome. It makes me excited, and it makes me only more juice to jump into the pod here. So 2 topics to dive into that we kind of uncovered that I want to make a couple comments about. First, the pits, the strategy. Like, it's awesome to see it. We talked about it going into the race weekend. Pocono is a strategy racetrack, right? Long runs, longer track, fuel mileage comes into play, not as many cautions. But you also have to, understand your car, how it responds to the track and the tires. And like you said, Denny played it out right, 2020 hindsight, of course, and he made the right move. But one thing to take it one step further that may not be looked at is these veteran drivers, the reason that they can get the lead and maintain the lead through these sequences is because their skills of getting on pit road and off pit road. So there's a lot of seconds are lost coming into the pits on pit road and coming off. So the drivers like the Harvicks, like the Kyle Busch's, usually like the Hamlins, they're able to charge into pit road, get to that minimum or that maximum speed, maintain it, and get out. While there's other drivers who are locking up their brakes, preventing 2-tire strategies, preventing things from happening because they are not as consistent and experienced in some of the intricacies of the sport, like pitting. Pitting is a very undervalued component of NASCAR. So it's great to see it, again, showing its head, because with the implementation of these stages, caution, or not cautions, but green flag pit stops were less prevalent. So seeing them now is cool because we appreciate them much more now. But it was great, again, to see that strategy play out, a full cycle go through and, have a chance, because I think NASCAR's got it. They're kind of playing the WWE angle where, while they are a non-scripted product, they can play to the story a bit, and they're learning how to do that through camera angles, through perspective, through voice. So I think you guys hit on 2 big takeaways from the race, and it was exciting to see both of those play out and really add value to the race.
let me ask you this: is the pitting thing, as I'm watching this, as a up and coming fan, if you will, like I feel like I'm not as novice as I once was. Like I'm paying attention to certain aspects of the race in terms of like, track history and who's hot, who's not, what cars are running well, whatever you want to say. But as I'm watching that race, I was like, damn, Denny's team cut this so close. Like 5 more seconds and Harvick wins that race. Like one lug nut isn't screwed in tight enough. Like they don't get that car off the lift 2 seconds faster. You know what I mean? Like they were that close to essentially losing that race or finishing in second or a top 5 again. Like, do they really have it down to that much of a science that they know exactly what they can and can't do in pit row?
Yep. I'm a firm believer that they do. I think that the technology is improving to give them the ability to forecast these outcomes a bit better. The Formula Ones of the world, which are much more technically inclined, already have a lot of the systems that forecast a lot of these outcomes from pit road based on all the intangibles. But I just think NASCAR is becoming a bit more open-minded to technology. While the drivers and the teams have always been about investing in it, the sanctioning body of NASCAR is accepting it more and allowing them to deploy some of these tools and technologies that allow them to make some of these split decisions without having maybe a regret because they don't have the support of technology. So I think that the whole sport and the teams being open-minded to technology is allowing for some of these close calls to be confidently made, and it's adding a lot of value to the sport. So it's exciting to see little things matter, and as a NASCAR fan, I like to see everyone picking up on the little things because the little things is what keep me engaged in NASCAR.
It's all about little things at all times, though. Like even the way you draft, especially on a track like Pocono, you notice some drivers immediately cut in and just think, I'm going to take this inside angle on this turn. And you had guys just sitting back. And I thought that's what Denny did best. Denny, the entire weekend, was just sitting back, letting it happen, not forcing it at any point, knowing that he was going to be more steady with his wheel work and understanding that he's got a great team behind him. It's just those little things that you see week over week that, yeah, you're right. It keeps you coming back. It keeps you in really engaged with the race. And I thought we had 2 good ones this past weekend. Crazy the way it ended up, just inverse of the other. But at the same time, same cars, same track, everybody playing with the same cards in terms of their car. Mm-hmm. I'm using cards and car in the same comparison, which isn't the best. But you know what I'm saying. It was really interesting. And God damn, Joey Logano, why you got to blow tires like that, man? You got to be kidding me with that shit.
He's too slow, bro.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it's a nickname for.
What a joke. I was pissed.
Yeah, I enjoyed that because so we did just if you guys are tuning in every week and you know what we're talking about on a weekly basis, we do a $20 pool every week. There's like 8 or 9 of us. And essentially we each get a top 8 or 9 ranked driver in terms of the Cup Series for the season as our first round pick. And then the rest are kind of scrambled across the board. But for this past weekend at Pocono, we did back to back. So we each paid $40 to get in and we had the same drivers. Luckily I had Harvick. Another buddy had Hamlin. So we both just dominated the entire thing, but it was a good time. But if you guys are just coming across our channel for the first time, make sure you guys are subscribing, liking, commenting, all that. If you have any questions in terms of DFS or gambling for this weekend, if you're joining us live, hit us up. If not, tweet at us. I know a lot of you guys watch this later in the week at BackOTPack. Freeman will answer you there personally. I know he's the guru, or you can find us at Fantasy Focused on Twitter with an extra D on the end there. But what other takeaways from Pocono did you have there? I know, for example, Almirola did pretty well. I believe he had top 5 finishes in both. Is he a guy, if you're playing like DraftKings instead of Monkey Knife Fight, that we should be keeping an eye on moving forward? We haven't really talked about Indy yet, and we'll get into the history there. But general thoughts from this past weekend?
Yeah, I think you're spot on with catching on to Almirola's momentum. So he's someone that we've been talking about a lot, right? he started in the top 3 or 4 in a couple weeks in a row and just disappeared. This week he kind of pulled a Houdini on us and appeared in, 3rd and 5th in both races. So when you compare Pocono to Indy, Almirola is definitely someone to look at to carry the success he had because of his machine and because of his driving style into this next weekend. So Indy is pretty much a 3-turned, Pocono is a 3-turned Indy. If that makes sense. So it's very similar in style from a length of straightaways and turn style. So look for the similar drivers to do well, and I think someone like Almirola presents a lot of value. Another takeaway that I just continue to sit on is where's Joe Gibbs? I mean, we see Denny Hamlin winning every race, but where are his teammates? You have Kyle Busch wrecking out. You have who else wrecked out? You had your guy 20, Eric Jones, crash out, and JGR isn't really around as much as they used to. Kyle Busch isn't getting wins, but Denny's there. So I'm surprised that Denny is running away with the pennant for that team. So a couple takeaways to think about, just to throw them into the mix here.
Dude, Kyle Busch stinks lately. I don't know what's up with him, but when the three of us, once we added Bucky to the cast here, I feel like he was kind of the dark knight to Kyle Busch, because
Bucky curse.
The Bucky curse is real, because Kyle Busch, to me, used to be like the guy that I was afraid of in terms of DFS or gambling, but now I just want to fade Kyle Busch. Like, I'm about to start trending the hashtag fade KB.
And the odds makers, the bookmakers, are still over here cashing in on Kyle Busch. He is second favorite, I think, when books opened for this week, and he hasn't shown anything to make me believe he's going to win this race. While he can come out of anywhere and win any race in any series, like he's won here before. He has similar equipment to Denny Hamlin, but it's like he's not the Kyle Busch that was the Kyle Busch of late. Something's missing. I don't know what it is.
His car is missing.
Paint job. It's that ice cream paint job.
It's not even about the paint. Let's talk about the car here, Freeman. I mean, we want to talk about Denny is running hot. Same team. What the hell is happening?
It's crazy. I'm surprised that Busch hasn't gone over to Denny and just shook him until he gave him one of his winning cars, because literally they're the exact same team. The only difference is they're wrapping on those vehicles. So it's something's wrong, and it seems the same thing goes for Martin Truex. Where is he? So I think Indy is going to be an opportunity for them to bounce back, but I still don't see them, either one of the JGR drivers outside of Hamlin, taking a W. So,
but at least Truex has shown those flashes where he can get up front. Busch will shine for a minute or two, and then he's off the grid. He's just he's out, and he likes to go to the Bahamas, something like that. I mean, I think he's in there in his brain drinking pina coladas out of a pineapple shell or something like that. But it's not looking like the same old Kyle Busch. And when you have your teammate winning races and seemingly having the fastest car on the track, he hasn't won every race, but I think he has had pound for pound the fastest car on the track the last 4 or 5 races. And
Agree.
I don't really understand how in the same garage you can have this type of issue. It obviously has to boil down to the driver, but we know who Kyle Busch is. What's going on there?
Dude, I would personally rather bet on Kurt Busch than Kyle Busch right now, without a doubt. That Monster Energy truck, or not truck.
Well, it is a truck, of course. It's Monster, man.
I know, right? Like, get on there, you old Monster truck.
You can only drink Monster if you drive a dually truck.
Dude, I just think about, like, if you've lived in a big city like Chicago or whatever, you see the big old Monster Energy truck, like with the big tires, and they just like pull up on the side of Wacker Drive and just like throw Monster Energy drinks out at all the people in suits.
Can I ask like a real question to both of you? Who drinks Monster Energy?
If they're giving it out for free on the street, I'm drinking that shit.
I don't drink I drink Red Bull, man. I'm a refined gentleman.
Dude, welcome to NASCAR. All the sidewinding polecats are drinking Monster.
Well, it's funny you say that too, because now Kyle Busch, talking about distractions, we'll loop it in here. He started his own energy drink company called Rowdy. Like, that has to be a big distraction, right? Like, like you talked about, Bucky. I don't know if you're referencing to his like actual vacation stints, but him and his wife and his daughter,
Yes.
or his son, have been all over the place of recent. I don't know if his mind's not in the game or if he's like, hey, I've won a number of championships, I'm gonna take it off this year. But like, he's not in the game, man. He's not there.
That was an actual reference to. You gotta understand, I'm subtle, Freeman, very subtle with my notes that I hit.
I didn't know you were creeping on his wife, like
Yeah, at Rowdy Bush's wife. That's what I look
follow
at
her too.
on
I follow her
Instagram.
too.
Yeah, it's @_Rowdy_Bush wife.
I'll show you a Rowdy Bush.
Well, it's not the one in the 18. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, exactly. Not rowdy enough.
It's the one.
That's right.
it's and I think you're right on with that, Levy. With Kurt Busch, he's kind of been someone that is kind of like a Clint Boyer. He makes a couple sparks in the barrel every couple of weeks, but he's a good top 3 bet. We just haven't seen him win any races. But I agree. I think he's someone who can be a bit more consistent and add that value that Kyle Busch has not been able to deliver. But looking at the weekend ahead, just to jump into the schedule. So in addition to NASCAR,
1 second, Freeman. You mentioned Boyer. We failed to mention the dog fight at the end of that last race.
Oh, with Bowman.
That was awesome. Just bumping the hell out of him like, hey, bud, this is mine to get.
Yeah,
I got to get that 7th place. I need 7th place.
Yeah, that's the difference of 1 point and, I don't know, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 maybe. So they're fighting for it.
We don't know anymore because they got Big Lube hand sanitizer sponsoring races now. So,
You're right. We don't, and I wish we knew. Well, eventually we will. I'm excited to better understand these payouts. So maybe when NASCAR becomes a bit more transparent on that side of things again, we'll know about those purchases and payouts. But Pocono, great weekend. We had double the amount of racing as usual. It was a great way to kick the feet up. But this weekend, more action. So in addition to NASCAR at Indy on Saturday, we have the Indy Car Series racing the road course alongside the Xfinity Series. So IndyCar races at 12 Eastern on the road course, Xfinity immediately following, and then on Sunday the big boys Cup's going to be racing on the oval, the square more or less at 4 p.m.
Right around the 9th green there.
Crazy. So wait. I have a question about that in general. I've never been to what was formerly called the Brickyard 400, which is now the Big Machine Hand Sanitizer 400.
It's actually called the Bacon Grease Vase Hand Lube 400.
Is this track functional during the season, during the race? Like, if you're on the first hole and you pull out your driver on a par 3 and you whack it, are you gonna knock off old Kyle Busch right in the head?
I honestly, that's a question that I don't know the answer to. I would imagine it's a pretty cool experience to play golf during a NASCAR race. I would definitely do it. And considering the position Indy has been in over the last years from a financial perspective, I'm pretty confident that people are going to be hitting balls out there on the racetrack or while the racetrack's live.
Right.
Damn, you really think there's going to be people teeing off with that? Isn't it one of the loudest experiences you can have?
Yeah, you're going to have to golf with headphones like this on so you don't get distracted.
No, I'd go all out. I'd make sure that my playing partners understand all bets are headphones off. You got to just take this in. And you know what? If there's a wreck right in your backswing, too bad, man.
Yeah, and luck of the draw, right?
But the good news is most of that's on the straightaway. So, shouldn't have too much wrecking.
I guess I don't understand how it's a road course if the Cup Series isn't a road course.
No. So it's an oval.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you have the Indy track, which uses a combination of the oval as well as in the infield with the road course. So use a pretty isn't there also there's an Xfinity race that utilizes the road course there too?
Both the races there on Saturday.
Yeah, and by the way, that is a bitch of a road course.
It's a big track.
Yeah, it's no Road America, but it's pretty close.
So are you betting on Indy at all on Saturday, Freeman, or Xfinity, or are you kind of just waiting for Sunday for the big dogs to eat?
I'm waiting for Sunday, to be honest with you. I haven't been following Indy as close of recent just because of how prevalent NASCAR has been and everything in the sports world. Indy was a bit slower to get back to action. The only reason I'm as excited about it now is because they're sharing the same track as NASCAR, if you will. So this will be the first time that Indy, Cup, and Xfinity are all at the same track in the same weekend. So it's a pretty big moment for sports. I think that for the sport of auto racing or motor racing, rather, and getting some of that crossover. Even if you're not a huge IndyCar fan, just by happenstance, you may tune into the Xfinity race a bit early and catch the end of that IndyCar race, and that's how you get fans to engage in new sports. And I'm excited about that. So I won't be betting on the Indy guys, but Sunday, you will definitely catch me on the wire.
Oh, you better be on that wire, Levy. So the cool part about it is you have the road course, which is flat for the most part.
Sure.
Right? But then the cool part about the Indy road course is you do have the steep turns of the track that builds into that road course. So it's a lot of variables in play. It's pretty damn cool.
And it'll be the first time Xfinity's racing there, so it is going to be a caution fest. And these are much heavier, much higher center of gravity cars. They're not going to handle anywhere near the Indy car. It's going to almost be painful to watch the Indy race at the same track and then watch these really slow Xfinity cars make the same turns at half the speed. So that's one thing that I haven't really dug into as far as the perception goes, but that may hurt to be honest.
All right. So what you're telling me is don't turn on the TV on Saturday. Just go play golf and just get fired up on Sunday morning.
Yeah, I'll play with you Saturday.
Deal.
Yeah, I'll watch the race for us and report back.
All right. Thank you. We expect a full bulletin.
So what do we need to know for the Cup Series headed into Sunday? Like what tell us more about the track, the history behind it. We'll get into the data of who historically has performed well here. But what do we need to know in general?
So recent news of the track. I know we've been kind of diving into it sporadically here, but some of the big breaking news and headline grabbers of recent were the acquisition of the track by Roger Penske. So the owner of Penske Motorsports, Penske Racing, who fields Ryan Blaney and Logano and Keselowski, he purchased IMS. And not only is he in NASCAR, he's in IndyCar. He's in IMSA, WeatherTech. He's in rally. So he is like the mecca of modern day motorsports, and he goes to own arguably one of the largest motorsports, stomping grounds in the country. So, he's definitely someone who's going to add a lot of value to that track. And without him, I don't think Xfinity would be on the road course. I don't think some of these cool things would be happening. So it's great to see that. But much like Pocono, we talked about it, long straightaways, Bucky, momentum track, Ford has won here the last 2 years. It's a power track. It's all about drive off. So I think, that trend's going to continue. Harvick won 19, Kes won in 18. It's hard to bet against Harvick, rather, knowing about the momentum he has from Pocono and the power he has under the hood in his Ford.
Totally agree on Harvick. I like him a lot this weekend.
I mean, he's hot. It's hard not to like him, right? I mean, this guy, if you look at the current stable of drivers, top 10 guys at Indy, Harvick and Kurt Busch, like I said, are the only guys with as many races at 19, but Harvick's the only guy with multiple wins here. If you want to be a smart bettor, history repeats itself, right?
I agree. And Harvick, to Harvick's point, and to support what you're saying, he's someone who has won across different decades at this track. So again, I think this is much like the Darlingtons of the world and the Poconos. The veteran drivers, their wisdom comes out because they have experienced so many different iterations and situations at these tracks. And while these 10 drivers are ranked as their top average, I think Kyle Busch has multiple wins here, but again, he's more of the checkers or wreckers guy. He's the person who's going to win 2 or 3 races at every track, but his average finishes in the mid-teens because if he's not winning, he's finished in 30th. So it's hard right now to throw a lot of money or action on Busch because of that, because of that trend that I've been recognizing at some of these tracks. So another conversation for another day.
I will comment here on Harvick with multiple decades winning at this racetrack. It's just like why I have to apply oil of Olay to my face. I have to go ahead and understand the cracks that are going on here. Okay. I got to figure out these cracks and I got to grow with them. One right here. There's another right here. And I just apply the oil of Olay. So Harvick has been applying oil of Olay like crazy as he's been going down here for the last 20 years. That's what he's been doing.
Yep. I agree. He knows what he's doing. He has the sauce. He applies the sauce before he jumps in the car, and that sauce gets him to where he needs to go. And, he joined the series recently after the track was brought onto the schedule. So if you look at historical stats, Jeff Gordon is someone who was here a couple of years before Harvick and owns all the stats in this area, but Harvick is very close behind him on laps led and lead lap finishes, top 5, top 10, top 3. So he knows the track. He has the sauce. He's someone that's going to be hard to bet against.
He's got the oil.
But speaking of sauce, Denny, my boy Denny, also has 5 top 5 finishes at this track. So don't sleep on Denny ever. Because if you want, let's look at the odds real quick before we get into the DFS picks and all that.
Well, you want to talk about Denny? Let's talk about Joey with 7 top 10ers here, bud.
How many wins does he have though?
0, Goose.
Because he's not a closer. He's not a finisher. He's slow.
He's got 2 wins. He's got 2 wins this season. Let's just relax a little bit.
To think about too with this track, you don't race here twice a year. So unlike a lot of other tracks that have higher win counts, you come here once a year. This is the crown jewel of NASCAR. So again, it's much harder to win compared to other tracks because you come here so infrequently. And just to throw a little another 2 cents in the mix here for our consideration.
Thank you, Alex.
I could see old Chase sneaking into the top 3 here because I feel like he's
no, man. This car is not running hot.
You're right. It's not running hot. But let me run through the top 10 or so here in terms of odds if you're a betting man and not or woman and not a DFS person. So Kevin Harvick, history, we've been talking about it, plus 400 to win. Sounds like great odds. You bet 100, you win 400. But in terms of NASCAR,
it's bad odds.
He is a serious favorite to win this race. A good odd to win is like plus 600, plus 650. Plus 400 is absurd. That's like being minus 150 in the NFL.
Well, think about it. It takes one pebble rolling across the racetrack, and then you're screwed.
This is true.
Plus 400 is not what gets me flowing, man. It's not.
Not in the NASCAR world. And if you want to look for some folks to get you flowing, Bucky, I think the Benedetto is a good sleeper. I think he was at like 55 to 1. He's someone
which is incredible. And he's been racing well.
He's been racing well. 2 top 10, top 12 finish both races in Pocono. And he's someone who has a supportive forward of Penske Racing. Someone who I think who presents good value in those 50 or 60s to 1. Those are odds you're not going to get in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm not taking 4 to 1. I'm not taking 4 to 1.
I mean, come on, man. If you're gonna listen, let's just say your unit is $25, and you're gonna spread out. Let's say
$200.
We're gonna spread out 20 units across a Sunday in NASCAR.
I was thinking 8 units, but yeah.
Well, I like a little juice for my squeeze.
Yeah, I can tell you're a fresh juice guy.
Yeah, well, my Monkey Knife Fight account says otherwise.
Well, it says you're a rotten juice guy.
But look, what I'm saying is if you're going to spread bullets and you don't want to go with the top a weak top 5 or a top 10 or a top 3 finish bet, and you just want to go straight for the sack, you want to dig deep and get some heart and some sack in your bets.
Yeah, I like sack.
So I'm gonna go 4 units on Harvick at 4 to 1. So if he wins, look, if I'm betting $500, right? If we're assuming $25 a unit, I feel comfortable putting 4 units on a guy like Harvick who has historically dominated here and is running hot. Because then you want to back that up with a guy like Denny Hamlin, who is plus 500, who we've talked about extensively over the last 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever it is. You throw a couple units on a guy like Denny, and then you sprinkle in some other guys. Like you talked about, like Jimmy Johnson has historically done well here. I know he's old as dirt now, but he's plus 3,000.
He ain't winning this race.
No, probably not. But, you want to sprinkle a unit in there. DiBenedetto has been racing well. Plus 6,000 he's up to now.
I like that. What's Logano at?
Logano
11 to 1,
is
probably 10 to 1.
Logano. Where I don't even know where he's at. Plus 750.
Ooh, I don't like that. I don't like that.
If
Not
I
for
saw,
a win.
if
I like
saw
Logano
like
top 3.
I like that too. And again, Ford Power, that's 7. You said 750. That doesn't tickle the fancy enough. I would need like a 950 to go on a Logano or a Blaney. That's just they've too middle of the pack. I want to know what Kurt Busch is at. What's his odds? Are they over 1,000?
Kurt Busch is all the way at plus 3,000.
Love it.
So here's what I'm thinking. If you're listening to this podcast or to this YouTube show, obviously you need to subscribe and like and all that. But if you already do that and you're following us, now that we're back on Bucky's Monkey Knife Fight account, not mine, we are hot again. Whatever it is, if you're Monkey Knife Fight or you're gambling, I would personally take one of these other guys that's a safe bet, like a Hamlin or a Harvick. Kyle Busch is a little too risky at plus 550 for me. We haven't seen enough from him at all lately. He's checked out. He's doing something else right now. Keselowski's won here before. He's plus 750. But take one of these other guys like a Almirola who's plus 4,000 or a DiBenedetto who's plus 6K or a Kurt Busch who's plus 3,000. Mix in a top 3 or a top 5 or a top 10 on one of these longer shot guys. Because look, Almirola last weekend had 2 top 5 finishes back to back in a very competitive race in a competitive track. So think about it like that. Like spread your bullets out on some of these, a couple of the long shots that you like and a couple of the favorites, but then mix in the top 3 finishes or the top 5 or the top 10. It's up here.
I really like how you laid it out. I like the 4 units on a guy like Harvick. He's got a screaming American Eagle on the side panel for this race. He's got Busch Light on the front with fireworks spraying out of his ass. We can't even light fireworks in the country anymore. So the fireworks got to come from the engine of the Ford car. I like spreading that out. I also like 2 units on Denny. I think that's a safe bet. And I think you hit kind of the notes that I wanted you to hit right there, which was DiBenedetto, Kurt Busch, and I forget the 4th, Almirola. I think all 3 of those are solid, and I would be absolutely remiss if 3 of those 5 aren't in the top 5 come the end of this race.
I agree with you on all on that. Those are a lot of good picks, especially because the consistency of some of those drivers and going from such a similar track in Pocono to Indy. So to kind of give you an example of an exact situation you were outlining, Levy, where you want to diversify your bets kind of outside of not only at winners but top 3s and top 5s. This year, Bubba Wallace is I think 80 to 1 to win this race. Last year he finished 3rd. I don't know exactly what those odds were, but if you pick Bubba Wallace as a top 3, I'm sure those are 650, 750 odds. So, again, look for some of those drivers to present some value. Take a shot, put a unit on some of these guys that you want to see do well because, they will do well eventually. The Bubba Wallaces, the Chris Buschers, the rookies, the
Cole Custer.
Cold Custard, So a lot of those drivers that we were talking about out of the gate, have a lot of value to present here on those.
What is Bubba at currently? Top 10.
And he opened at 80 to 1. I didn't.
Give me Bubba
I
top
didn't,
5.
Let's see.
I mean, he's plus 12,500 to win. I don't even look at those top 5 odds.
See, I'm not betting Bubba to win, but I would not be surprised. He's been racing well. He's had a couple.
Bubba Wallace is plus 3,000 for a top 3.
I think his team has let him down a little bit in terms of.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Honest to God, he's been racing. The guy is racing right now.
Is this like a momentum race? Does he have like this little booth right now? With the public behind him. Do you believe in that?
For sure.
Yes. I think he has a lot of public momentum. I think Bucky hit it on the nose. his team isn't intentionally letting him down, but his team is holding him back. The resources they have, the manpower that they have, it just isn't matching the product that Bubba's putting on the track.
Yep.
And I think you're spot on with that. He's someone that could take a 10% better piece of equipment and make it look like 30%. And I think that he will have that opportunity. It's a matter of who's going to give him that seat.
Yeah, I've seen him have one good quality pit stop over the last 4 races. And that's the thing that pisses me off, because I do want to see the 43 car win. One of my favorite looking cars in NASCAR, that Richard Petty 43 is just, oh, good Lord. You got to love seeing that thing.
One component of that that's unique to talk about from a pit stop perspective, if I'm not mistaken, I think Richard Petty, Motorsports, RPM, they loan out their pit crew. So a lot of these bigger teams like Hendrick Motorsports, like Richard Childress, they have large stables of pit members. So they have a lot of Ethan Tinglers. They have a lot of different individuals that can pit these cars. So to make money, they lend their secondary and tertiary teams out to some of these middle and back of the pack teams at almost like on a lease, like I just mentioned. So they don't have they're not as cohesive. They don't work together every single weekend. They're kind of being plugged and played. So again, that's something that you don't see at the front of the pack that, is something that a driver can't hurdle him or herself, on the racetrack. So you're kind of dealt the hand you get to play the hand you're dealt.
Because I think Bubba he's driven extremely aggressive. And I think honestly, he hasn't had any of those like major slip ups or anything that you look at and you say he made the wrong move there. To me, it's simply timing of the pit stops that's really been holding him back, because his car has been running well. It's just a matter of when they need to make those, small fixes, get the tires changed, get the gas in. It's just not coming quick enough for him.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I saw him pit in the top 10 and come out of the pits in the top 10.
One time.
And I noticed that last weekend, and I was like, oh, it's so bad, man.
It happened once, Freeman, and that's the only time I can recall in the last 4 or 5 races where he went in, he came out where he should have came out. He's always drifting back, and it ain't because of his driving. It's because of them pit stops. And that's
interesting.
Yeah. Just pay more attention next time to 43. When he pulls in, he's going to be coming out behind a car that went in just behind him.
I mean, that's got to be infuriating as a driver. Like,
nah, man, it's part of the deal. He knows what he's got with Petty.
He knows it's part of the deal, but he's a very boisterous driver, and he's someone who has commented on a lot. Someone who's very well known for this is Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick shits down the throat of his pit crew members when they mess up. And, he was criticized for it. And I think considering everything going on, Bubba isn't in the mood to criticize his pit crew. He is biting his tongue on that. He is moving forward and addressing certain topics, but also focusing on driving. And he's not, blaming it on his team. While I think they're the weakest link, he's being the bigger man and carrying himself well. So kudos to Bubba for, carrying himself well in some of these hard times.
Yeah, I'm glad you've been seeing it too, Freeman, because it was driving me nuts the last few races, man.
Yeah.
No, I dig it, man. All right. So
he deserves something a bit better.
Should we go to Monkey Knife Fight here?
Yeah, Bucky, you got the hot account. And, my Denny Hamlin shirt hasn't sold on eBay yet. So I'm not ready to redeposit yet.
Aren't you wearing it? Are you selling the shirt you're wearing?
Right off Levy's back.
That's right. I have labeled this as a back of the pack game used Denny Hamlin 1999 t-shirt that was also worn by another strange man prior to me.
Race version, baby.
Yeah. We're doing well. All right, so before we start, I just wanted to show my dashboard. I have one currently in. This is the only thing I have in currently. So let's take a look at this. So I have the Rapid Fire here, hand sanitizer 400, brought to you by lubebros.com, powered by Big Machine Records. $5. You got to get 3 out of 3 to triple your money. I got Harvick over Hamlin, only because Harvick's getting 0.5. I'll take any advantage. I think it's a stalemate there.
Yes.
0.5. That's 5 laps. I like that. Oh, by the way, first time tuning in, the way this scoring structure works, 0.1 points for each point led, 20 points for a win, and then all the way down to finishing 20th with 1 point. Easy to figure out, right? So Right now, this is just head on head. I have Harvick over Hamlin at 0.5 with Harvick, the underdog there. What are your thoughts on that pick?
I like that. This is a head to head, right? You said?
It's head to head.
Okay, it's a little blurry on my screen. Yeah, I like those numbers. Just on a side note, since pulling up Monkey Knife Fight at the start of this, Harvick's already gone up a point. So these numbers are changing quick. And
Wait, it's
I think
plus-
what you have
plus
here in front
one?
of us. No. I'm talking about some other bets, but what I'm
gotcha.
saying is these numbers are changing very quickly. With the action that's going into the games here.
That's why I snagged it, Freeman.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to mention that as well. If you guys are watching this here, we're recording on Wednesday night, July 1st. I can't believe it's July already. But if you're watching this on July 1st or July 2nd or July 3rd, get your damn bets in now because some of these numbers are going to skyrocket. The Harvicks of the world, the Hamlins of the world, the guys, even Kurt Busch probably won't be on Monkey Knife Fight, but those two at the very least, their more or less total will likely skyrocket as we get closer. Indy's a big track. It's a big momentum track. The public is into it. NASCAR is going to pump this up. The numbers are going to skyrocket. So get your bets in now.
Yep. So I got Harvick there. I like that pick. I have Logano. He's getting 1.5 on Kyle Busch. That one was simple for me. Like I said,
Yikes.
7 top 10 finishes for Logano. And Logano has led laps in every race for the last 6 races. I'm going to take Logano there.
No brainer for me. No brainer.
Yep. And then I have Chase Elliott over Ryan Blaney, who Ryan Blaney is getting a 0.5. For whatever reason, I think this is going to be a step back race for Blaney. It's just kind of like that gut feeling. I've been hot, and I'm going to take Chase here.
And you got to remember, he crashed Kyle Busch this weekend. So there's some retaliation out there on the track for Ryan Blaney. He just straight up dumped Kyle Busch on Sunday. And again, he was there at the front early in Blaney, but again, I think you're spot on with that. So the momentum isn't kind of in his favor much anymore, I don't think, and the Harvicks of the world I think are going to rule this track. The old rain is going to come through and just run through the field on Sunday.
The Graybeards.
Yeah, I love that. The Graybeards, and I'm with you, Bucky. Regarding Harvick plus the 0.5 over Hamlin, I think Hamlin could definitely win this race, but I feel like it might not be crazy to assume a 1-2 finish for Harvick and Hamlin again this weekend.
I think that's crazy.
I don't think it's that crazy. Listen, if there was a way for me to make a bet on 1-2, like box them like I'm doing a horse race, like, I wish I could make the box bet on Harvick and Hamlin because I would like to put a lot of units on that bet because I truly believe that this could happen. We need the box bet in NASCAR. Box them up.
Freeman, I'm going to ride with you here. What are the games you like here?
I like this one you've got right now, and I'm not going to make friends with Levy by giving you my pick here, but I'm going to go Harvick more at 18.5. He was 17.5 when I logged in this afternoon. I'm going to go less on Hamlin. I think, again, he's someone who has a lot of wins in his bag, much like Harvick this year, but the consistency out of JGR has not been there as much as it has been from Stewart-Haas Racing. Harvick, Almirola, even Cole Custer and Boyer, I think all are going to have good machines coming into Indy, somewhere that's very popular to Tony Stewart, someone who owns that team, who puts a lot of resources into this track, into this team. I think Harvick has it here over 18.5 with Hamlin less than 18.5.
I'm with you. I'm putting 20 on it, Levy. Suck it.
Dude, you are insane. Denny is a possessed man. He's a man on a mission. He is a man with one thing in his sights, and that is a Cup Series championship plus 550 to win the Cup Series at this juncture. Put all units on Denny to win the championship. I'm okay with it though for this race.
Here's the thing.
I think Harvick's going to win.
That's my point. I already stated that I don't think it's going to be Harvick winning and Hamlin in second. Therefore,
I do.
I know you do, so you would go more. But I don't think that's the case because I think it's not statistically impossible. Believe me, it is anything is possible when you got 40 drivers going out there and racing. The fact of the matter is there's no way they finish 3 straight races 1 and 2, Levy. This is insane talk.
This is inception talk. This is back
No,
of the
you
pack
can't incept somebody
talk.
that literally doesn't appreciate robots or technology whatsoever. I'm surprised I'm on the internet right now. All right, moving on. What do we like? What's the next game here, Freeman?
Let's do a 2 out of 3. Pick one.
Let's do a Bucky versus Lee Links tomorrow morning, Bucks. What are the odds on that?
More or less 2 out of 3. Here we go.
I mean, this is easy. This is no doubt Kyle Busch under, less. Denny more, Harvick more. If you have to go 2 out of 3, how can you go against Denny?
Busch is checked out. Busch is checked out.
Busch doesn't even care about racing. He's dead.
Busch is going to finish 12th and not even care. He probably has an espresso in the car.
So we hedge our bets here, and we go with more on Hamlin and stay more on Harvick.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'll put 5 to win 750 on that.
Jeez, that's a sad bet. You can't even get a burrito for $7.50 in America anymore.
We'll go 10 for 15. I can get at least one burrito and maybe some salsa. Like that one.
This is more fun when it's not my account.
Dude, I love this. So I will do this all day, and I don't think twice about it. All right.
Which one you got up next year? What are we going to deal?
I mean, to be fair, I really like...
Go for a 3 or 4? We got a couple of them.
Yeah, we got one right here.
We've got... Is that the... Okay, yep.
All right, so this one's tough because we have to do that square off mentally between Harvick, Hamlin, Logano. I think Logano's more. I'll start at the back. I think Logano finishes top 5. So therefore, he will have 15 points.
And he'll at least lead a few laps based on his last few weeks of consistency. Yep. I'm still going pretty heavy on Busch, just dropping the poop bomb. Hamlin here, we're 3 of 4 again. So I'm going to say more. Yeah, I think you're spot on.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with you on this one.
I'm going to say 5 to win 1250. I can afford a burrito. So I like this one. Joey Logano, more than 15.5. Kyle Busch, less than 16.5. More than 18.5 for Hamlin, as well as Harvick, more than 18.5. And that's 3 out of 4.
I love that one.
Yep. That's a good one.
How much you got left in that account over there, Bucky? I can't see that.
$13.
All right, so we're going all in on the Bucky double sack.
Is there anything else that stood out to you at all, Freeman? Because, I mean, I think we have some good ones in here. Just to run it down for the people out there, we have a 2 out of 2, more or less. Harvick, Hamlin, 18.5. So this is kind of like how we structured the rest of our betting from there. We had more for Harvick, 18.5, less for Hamlin, and then we went on to a 2 out of 3 here. You get 1.5x for whatever you buy in with. And we had Harvick, 18.5 more, Hamlin, 18.5 more, Kyle Busch, 16.5 less. And that's the hedging that I love Freeman so much for, because he got it in my head. You can't just be stubborn Buck for the rest of your life, man. You got to open up and understand hedging and odds. And Freeman is a smarter man than me. A lot of people out there probably disagree, but believe me, okay? I know you've been listening. I'm a smart man, but I'm a dummy compared to one Alex Freeman. So we'll move on here. We got a 3 out of 3 rapid fire. These are matchups. Harvick versus Hamlin getting 0.5. Got Harvick winning that one. Logano 1.5 plus 1.5 over Kyle Busch. That's the easiest bet of the weekend, in my opinion.
Glitch in the system.
It's a glitch in the system. And then Chase Elliott versus Ryan Blaney. Elliott is not the favorite. Blaney is getting 0.5 points, but really, Blaney, he's had a hot car. Elliott's kind of just tailed off in the last 4 races, but I like Chase Elliott here to win that matchup. And then finally, we have a 3 out of 4 here. You can go ahead and 2.5x your cash. And we have more or lesses. Harvick more than 18.5. This is where we hedge again with Hamlin more 18.5. We say Kyle Busch is he's in Nova Scotia playing golf or something like that, less than 16.5. And Joey Logano with more than 15.5. That leads us straight in to
the finale.
Bag of donuts.
The grand finale.
We got some new faces on Monkey Knife Fight 2 this week. So I see William Byron in there playable. Looks like he took Kurt Busch's place. So it's kind of like the 8 of the top 10 favorites are kind of put in the mix here. So it's good to see some new faces, but I'm excited to hit one of these bag of donuts or double sacks. We got to hit it here, boys.
So I'm not going to do the 6 out of 6. That's nearly impossible to hit.
Yeah, I feel like let's start in the middle here, Buck. Let's get rid of Kyle Busch.
You're dead.
Dead to me.
You take your ice cream paint job and you go somewhere else.
I'm also going to go less on Blaney.
All right.
13.5 is not that high of a number. I don't see Blaney leading this race.
We got to go more on Harvick.
Yeah, more on Harvick for sure. I think the hardest. What are we going to do with Denny? That's my biggest sticking point.
I'm going to go less. I think Harvick wins the race.
All right. It's on you guys.
What do you think, Freeman?
More, less, more, less.
What? More?
Less, right?
Less?
Harvick more, Hamlin less, Busch less, Logano more,
Is this
Blaney
the winning?
less.
All right. This might be the winning recipe.
I'm doing a 5 for 6.
I think your analysis of Logano's consistency and driving the track, leading laps, being around when it matters. Again, he's someone that I think can squeak out a top 7 or 10 and lead, 25, 30 laps that we need to get over our number.
I agree. We're going in.
All right.
Why
Let's
go in
like
60? Big money bets only, folks. Big money.
I got
bets.
the tingles from that one. I like that one.
let's stay hot.
All right. We're trying to stay hot here, Levy.
We're loaded.
Take us out.
We're staying hot here. That will do it, I suppose, for episode 1, or sorry, I almost said 125, but
25.
episode
Soon.
25, soon 125. But if you're enjoying the content out there, I know you guys, a lot of you guys on YouTube have been watching the Back of the Pack podcast live here on Fantasy Focus. So appreciate the love and support. Make sure you smash that like button, as the kids are saying. Hit that subscribe button. Show us some love. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast. You can find our podcast anywhere that you consume podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you listen. Let's go, Denny Victor. Let's go, Denny. But appreciate the love and support as always. This has been episode 25 of the Back of the Pack podcast, brought to you by the Original Hooters. Find us on Twitter at BackOTPack and at BackOTPack on IG as well. Look forward to seeing you guys next week, and let's win some money on Monkey Knife Fight this weekend. Make sure you use code FOCUSED when you're depositing for that $50 deposit bonus, and see you guys soon.
Let's make some money this weekend.
Let's go, Busch Light.